up around the same time. Maybe this man has peaked a little higher and got slightly more hype, but this is going to be one hell of a best of 5. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of the young Danish phenom. It is MaxPax.
In the bottom left-hand side, we've got our blue Protoss player, SKillous. You know, we didn't really talk about what we might expect to see in this series in terms of builds all too much, but that's, I think, because PvP in general has a lot of variety, right, Roddy? But these two really will not kind of hide anything away. They will go late game, they will play early game, they will all in, they'll expand quickly. There's just no telling what either of these two will bring to the table.
I'm totally with you. We're obviously going to see some 1-gate fast expense out of MaxPax, especially on an Oxide, on a Blackburn. But MaxPax is really odd because he can still be the aggressor while going 1-gate fast expand. And if the other person is then just not expecting it at all, even something as simple as a Zealot, an Adept, and a Stalker can really find a lot of damage. I think this is just one of these series where we in particular need to keep our eyes wide open and actually just see where they are going about. They were in the same group. In the group, obviously, MaxPax came out victorious. And I feel that every Protoss we talk to, Wadi, in the European scene, will talk about MaxPax and how good his PvP is and how excellent his understanding of this matchup is.
Yeah, and it really is. And he's come up with some builds as well. You know, when he builds this Stargate and 1-gate versus 1-gate, and he goes across the map, builds batteries in the opponent's natural. We've seen that work against the best Korean players. And it's that creativity that MaxPax has that makes him maybe even more dangerous in a matchup that allows for so much creativity as well.
Yep. Both players have made a Zealot, and neither of them seems to be investing in, I want to say, any cybernetics core blocks, pylon blocks. That's not going to work. MaxPax is going to drop the Nexus and the full wall off with his Stargate. SKillous is doing things a little bit different. He's going to chrono boost out a Stalker. MaxPax now obviously knows that his expand is already a bit quicker than the one of the young Russian. But what he won't know is what kind of tech SKillous will go for. Based on these openings, I am very inclined to say that MaxPax will probably open up Oracle first, because Oracles are quick, Oracles can force out a defensive reaction, and it can give MaxPax the right idea of what he's going up against, because at this point, he obviously doesn't know.
Yep, very blind as we do see our first Zealot here from SKillous is going to be chased away by an Adept. Not an interaction you see every day, but yeah, that is going to be a Zealot falling, and SKillous will lose any map control that he had. He does have another unit poking around. He's got this probe in the main about to fall, but MaxPax, yeah, on the other side of that, a little bit blinder. Obviously, SKillous coming up here, checking what's coming out of this Stargate, sees it's an Oracle. And this is a Stalker that's kind of on the map and not at home defending. Are we worried about that at all, Roddy?
I'm definitely worried a little bit, but since the second Stalker is here, I don't think the Oracle is going to try to fight it. I'm mostly worried about probes in the natural of MaxPax, and that's why he's getting a second battery. But if I now look at these build orders, I have to admit, I am not feeling super excited for SKillous, because his Twilight Council is going down at the exact same time as the Twilight Council of MaxPax. We do have a little Stalker pressure here, but I still feel that they're basically doing the same thing, but then MaxPax actually already has an Oracle out. MaxPax is going to lose a Stalker, by the way, at home. SKillous out microing MaxPax a little bit there. We do have this stasis trap. That's going to be a big stasis trap. It's a massive stasis trap. What happened there? SKillous maybe a bit too busy microing his Stalkers on the other side of the map. My goodness, Wadi.
Yeah, that's the stasis that changes games, because that's an entire mineral line not mining for what, 20 seconds or so. It's just brutal. It just, you know, really is going to kill you. The income graph will not be pretty, and that's going to be MaxPax, who should be obviously then feeling rather good about this. So, like you say as well, it's not like SKillous has anything to show from not going into the Stargate, right? It's not like his blink is that much faster. I don't feel like he's gotten anything out of this. So, you know, a little bit of pressure that kind of just, you know, hit the wall and didn't do much. It feels a little bit rough.
He got a Stalker kill, and the one thing that he has is that he has one gateway more. But I have to admit that I'd much rather have an Oracle out that can drop some revelations and give you a really good idea of where you're at in the game. He just feels that MaxPax has gotten himself in a pretty good position. Seems like SKillous did a little trick there, right, with the pylon. I actually didn't see it. I don't know if Neil showed it. But he built a pylon and he got his probe on the other side of the wall, trying to go up to 3 bases, squeezing through a full wall off. But MaxPax was there with his random adept. I actually be triggered, by the way. If that's yeah, look at the probe in the natural of SKillous.
Yeah, that's really cute. You go through all of that, and the adept's just sat there waiting for you.
I'd be pissed, mate. I'd be pissed.
He's like, oh god, I feel so cool right now. This is a masterful plan. Nope. Bye bye. Well, outside of that, Dark Shrine on the way from MaxPax, so he's going into that very quickly. And this is a style we see in Europe a fair amount, I would say. This, this choice of saying, well, I could tech up into all the other things, or I could just get the Dark Shrine underway very quickly. That's definitely a fairly popular way of playing. So, yeah, going for that at the moment. And otherwise, a few stalkers of MaxPax making their way down the bottom to get aggressive here.
Yeah, there's potential, buddy. I mean, that is 9 stalkers with Blink. MaxPax has not invested in a robot yet because he doesn't need to. He revealed, I mean, this is all a 1-2 punch, right? It's all because of the Oracle dropping a revelation. MaxPax knew that those units were there. Now he finds himself in a little bit of an awkward spot. MaxPax going for a defensive Blink. That means he is going to lose a couple of units. Well done by SKillous. That could have gone a little bit worse. So, well done.
Yeah, that was actually kind of concerning for a few moments, but does somewhat make it out of there, MaxPax, with everything intact, and SKillous with obviously the defense that was necessary as well to keep him in a reasonable position. Now we're going to see MaxPax actually turn to chase these units down, and he is going to get a sentry as well, and now he's going to show up with this Oracle. Might just be a few probes he can catch, and they are already just long distancing. It's not the worst few probes to be stasis, but still just some nice little extra from MaxPax. Keeping the multi-prong up, and all of this is while he's setting up into his DTs, and we'll see if they can also provide different outlets of attack for him to really just take advantage of here.
SKillous has scouted the Dark Shrine, so he's got an observer waiting in the natural, and he's even building a second observer. There is a cannon as well in the natural mineral line. Can he catch both? Can he catch both? Oh. Not yet. Should be able to gun it down, but at the same time, obviously, MaxPax still looking for damage with Stalkers. Nice battery overcharge. I gotta say, SKillous is playing a good game. It felt like, okay, this is still going to hurt a little bit. Nice job by MaxPax. SKillous wants to kill that Archon, but he ain't going to get that. Still, though, SKillous not falling apart, but MaxPax is definitely creating a little advantage into another little advantage into a bigger advantage.
It is adding up, isn't it? It's one of those things where you don't see the difference in the numbers right now, but given a bit of time, maybe MaxPax really does open up the leads here and really does create something for himself, and that's gotta be worrying when you're playing against someone as good as MaxPax, when he's able to kind of create those leads for himself. So.
Oracle in the middle of the map. No!
Oh, no! That wasn't the blink, Roddy. That was not the blink. Wow, that was... It's almost a summary of how the game's going for SKillous. Like, everything just doesn't quite go the right way, including those stalkers.
But he's still in it, though. I absolutely do believe that he's still in it. It's hard to end games like this if you're MaxPax. MaxPax definitely has a little advantage, a bigger army, already has 7 Zealots with charge. But if he takes a bad fight near a battery overcharge, I can absolutely see SKillous hold. SKillous may be able to find that probe indeed, and he's going to find a pylon too that warped in those DTs. Looking for that Oracle still. It is honestly... Okay, obviously the Oracle should have died on the right side there before if SKillous didn't make that blink. But it's pretty spectacular how MaxPax has really been kind of in SKillous' face with the Oracle. And it hasn't even taken any real damage, Waddy. It still has all the HP.
Yep, especially against somebody who's, it's like he's been so aggressive with it against so many stalkers of all things. It wasn't like this was like, a non-stalker opening or something along those lines. Nuh-uh. Not the case at all. It has been stalkers. It has been the situation where Oracle should be dying or taking some damage and those kind of things. Yeah, kind of wild to SKillous blast back a couple units right there. MaxPax still just kind of chilling out back at home. He's opting to go for that Robo Bay. The safest way to play out PvP lately, Roddy, is pretty much just going to be those disruptors which we've seen day in and day out. I know I didn't want to think about them after seeing MaxPax Thermal yesterday. I tried to delete them from my mind a little bit, but got there in the end.
There is a stasis trap that could potentially be big, but I gotta say, I don't hate the idea of SKillous trying to be aggressive now, because MaxPax is investing in that robotics bay, is investing in going up to 4 bases. There is a forge, but +2 is gonna finish up, man. MaxPax is dodging bullets here. You can't really make this kind of stuff up. That would have been a massive pickup normally, but MaxPax just barely able to finish up. Oh, stasis. Oh no, that's real bad for SKillous.
Yeah, and he is running forward as though he wants to fight. MaxPax will just hang back and is just gonna let it slide for the moment. He's not going to try and jump on this because he knows he's got disruptors on the way. So he knows given time he's in a bit of a better position here anyway. So just continuing to roll for that, as we are going to be seeing this. I mean, it is truly going in MaxPax's favor. SKillous is the one who needs to make something happen. He knows it. That's why he's trying to force this fight here. And he is, well, finding something with this. He is able to get into a little bit of the position. Oh, the disruptor ran down the ramp. That wasn't quite what's meant to happen. So the disruptor dies right away. And that's meant to be SKillous's get out of jail free card a little bit now.
Yeah, but SKillous is not taking a fight up a ramp into a cannon and battery overcharge. I really don't need to know how this one is going to go because I think we all know how it's going to go. MaxPax doesn't really need to go and chase this army down, even though he might feel confident enough that he's got enough HP here that he can force the fight. He has 4 Archons, has a couple of extra zealots coming in. SKillous is making his way into the natural. I'm actually really surprised that went so well. MaxPax is now exposing the Archons on the low ground. Wardy, is SKillous making the impossible happen? I mean, his units are very low in HP, but look how well he's doing in the natural of MaxPax.
Yeah, the natural army is definitely the scary one. Those 2 Archons are just in a difficult place to get rid of. So Zealots are going to start charging down that ramp. He is moving forward. He is MaxPax and is looking to clean up this army. And he looks as though he's doing a decent enough job of it. But still in the natural, as you've been saying, this is the place where things are going very, very wrong for MaxPax. And he just can't quite deal with this. Maybe now, finally, he'll get the cleanup, but it took him a long time. He lost a lot of probes in the process. And MaxPax is coming out in a bit of a tough spot now.
Yep, SKillous wants a little more. He feels like this has gone really well. He's got a lot of gas in the bank. During all of this, he was trying to go up to 4 bases, but either that got killed or cancelled. I guess it got cancelled. I don't know if it's by SKillous or if MaxPax walked in a couple of zealots and then later helped out defensively. But SKillous still on 3 bases. I'm really amazed by how well the Russian did there because it's so hard to fight where he was fighting. Obviously, MaxPax made a mistake with his first disruptor. SKillous is going to try to go up to 4 bases again, but there is a single DT. It's going to try to prevent that from happening. I'm stunned by how successful that attack was.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely outside of expectations for sure. And as we see Zealot Archon moving around the upper left-hand side, I think that, yeah, Disruptor just not really doing what it was meant to do. MaxPax was waiting for that and then obviously just threw it away. Just made life that little bit more difficult, was maybe, you know, practicing his defense around, obviously, that Disruptor Dean on the natural too. As in the main base, I'm going to see a big warp in that's MaxPax recalls to deal with, which should help him to deal with this. Nice Disruptor shot there. It's SKillous that's just making all of the moves, though, and that means it's MaxPax that's just running around silly, trying to save the game at the moment.
Yep, really sick though there by SKillous, pulling a lot of units out of position. MaxPax did indeed get a beautiful hit with the only Disruptors. I almost wish the SKillous would have tried to go for them, because Disruptors by themselves would not have been able to really protect each other. They would have killed a couple Zealots, but there is no way they would have stayed alive. But they still worked out for SKillous, because he got some extra damage in the main base, and he did take out that base in the top left, which means that we're even. Oh no, his units are stuck. Look at the main base of SKillous. Never recall Archons, guys. When you recall Archons, he needs to kill more. That's not enough.
Yeah, he's not going to get out with the cannon. He's fully walled in there. Pylons and all sorts. Oh no.
No.
He skills us did as much damage as his main base he did in MaxPax at this rate, Roddy.
Yep. And this actually, oh no, the one Archon is still stuck, and this actually allows MaxPax to maybe get on top of this Nexus, because it's taking SKillous so long. But SKillous does still have his Prism on the top right side. What a great way to start off this day of the DreamHack Masters fall, man. I'm loving it. These are two very evenly matched players. MaxPax in the main base of SKillous with a Prism and a couple of DTs. It's DTs everywhere, but MaxPax, he does still have these Disruptors, Marty.
He's got those Disruptors, and to me, that's one of the most important things to be having right now for sure. So, yeah, it's still tough for SKillous perhaps to make his way around. MaxPax reestablishing his own fourth base, and just a swing in momentum as these DTs are going unanswered in the main, Roddy, and they are putting in some serious work to keep MaxPax again back in a better position. He's now got a bit of an army disadvantage, but of course, Disruptors should be fine. And yeah, what a swingy game, back and forth relentlessly, honestly.
I honestly feel that this recall lost him the game. I don't want to say that SKillous was winning, because he still didn't have Disruptors. MaxPax could have still made a lot of things happen. But that recall was a bit unnecessary anyway, right? That army was not in danger. MaxPax wasn't there. SKillous just recalled because he's like, yeah, let's just bring him home safely. But he could have walked home. But because everything got stuck, he took so long to actually free up these units, and I feel like he lost a lot of map control momentum. We have a couple of disruptor shots going forward. The disruptor shots are quite good. SKillous does still have a lot of Archons, but it just feels that going up this ramp into those disruptors, not getting on top of them, I think that is going to spell the end for this one. MaxPax's army just seems to be too good at this point.
Yeah, it's just going to become very difficult for SKillous to really make anything happen for himself. But I mean, what a fantastic first game, showing us the potential of this series, Roddy. I mean, MaxPax looking great, SKillous having a good comeback, and then MaxPax having a comeback of his own. And if the rest of this series is as chaotic and as full of mayhem as this, well, like I said, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. I think we're going to have a pretty good time.
SKillous has lost 11 Archons, MaxPax has lost 11 Archons, but MaxPax lost 53 Zealots, and SKillous lost 102. That's 155 Zealots going down in a 16-minute game. SKillous is going to try one more time, but I think he knows at this point it is incredibly unlikely he's going to find success, because does he have enough firepower to gun down the disruptor? Apparently he does. I mean, he does have a little Archon advantage. Now, that doesn't mean that much when your opponent is very heavy on the Stalkers. SKillous still battling, man. Down 17 workers, but only down 7 army supply. I just don't really know how he can get another successful attack, but he surprised us before. Maybe he can make some magic happen one more time. It's just that Archons are so good against Zealots, but they're really not that great against Stalkers, right? And MaxPax is just gonna out-micro the army of SKillous.
Yep, that is absolutely the issue that we kind of stand on here. Is we are going to be having this big fight. There's so many Archons, definitely an aid, but are they going to be enough? Well, probably not. I mean, the armies are still close, but of course, it's MaxPax building so much more behind this during all of this. New disruptors are on the way out. He is going to get rid of the disruptor again. MaxPax has not been able to get a decent disruptor shot off for a very long time at this stage. Definitely part of the reason SKillous has been able to keep on fighting and staying in this game so long, because this was kind of meant to be done a little while ago in MaxPax's point of view, and SKillous just refusing to die.
Yep, it's still going to be so hard to get up this ramp. This disruptor shot will go up, but doesn't actually get the best connection, just kind of clips the Archon. But while all of this is taking place, MaxPax is killing a couple of probes with Zealots and DTs, and SKillous knows the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. Blinks up the ramp, kills the overcharged battery. He's just kind of running out of steam. SKillous really fought for every fiber or everything that he was worth. Just not enough, barely not enough. MaxPax takes the 1-0 lead in this best of 5 in the lower bracket of the DreamHack Masters playoffs. What an awesome way to start the day though, Roddy.
I mean, you couldn't have really asked for much more in all of that, Roddy. It was back and forth. SKillous, we were pretty sure was dead. Actually, is able to come back a little bit, make a fight out of it. I mean, he really gave us a game worth talking about at the end, because otherwise, MaxPax was kind of running away with things, right? All the things just went in his favor. Little things kept on going a little bit better for him, etc. So yeah, no, it was a really fun game to get started. And like I say, I hope this really sets the precedent for the rest of this series, because if it does, we're definitely in for a little bit of a treat. As our next map up going to be Jagannatha, which we know can be a pretty exciting one for PvP, and absolutely bring the mayhem a lot of the time. So excited to see what will come out of this as we have everybody set up.
SKillous is requesting a couple of minutes, so we have a little bit of time to still talk about that first game. I really think it's the recall where it all went wrong. Like before that, obviously SKillous was in trouble, but he did such a good job in never really overextending, pulling MaxPax away from his static defenses. MaxPax made one mistake with the disruptor, and he found so much success. And then even with the War Prism in the main base, killing the base on the top left, I really think if there is a world where SKillous, instead of recalling that army, he just walks home, then you're still focused on all the things you need to be focused about, right? Getting your army in the right position, keeping track of what's happening on the map, keeping track of where MaxPax's army is at. But he was a solid 20 or 25 seconds. He was busy trying to free up the units that got stuck because of the recall, and that allowed MaxPax to just casually cross to the other side of the map. And by the time SKillous finally broke out, that's when the War Prism showed up in his own main base, and he wasn't quite ready for that. But that's all because his focus wasn't where it was meant to be, because his focus is only on, let me free up my own units in the main base. Well, obviously your focus should be, what the hell is my opponent doing? I think it's the recall that really costed him here.
Yeah, no, it was, it took so much attention, really. Like you say, it was a consistent problem for quite a while out of nowhere. And in a game like that, you actually spend more time dealing with that than you spend dealing with a lot of MaxPax harassment for a long time, to put it into perspective. So it really did throw him off, and I think you're definitely onto something there, Roddy. I think it had a major effect. As we dive on into game number 2, SKillous is now ready to go, so it didn't take quite as long as he requested, and we'll get ourselves ready for this game 2. And yeah, we'll see what happens now. Obviously, Jaganatha, we have this map which has got no ramp up into the natural. Sometimes that doesn't stop MaxPax from expanding quickly, but it can definitely invite the aggression as well. So lots that can happen. Let's dive on in to see exactly how things will go. Take us away, Rotterdam.
In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of a young Russian Protoss. He used to represent Cascade. Currently, he's teamless, looking for a team. It is SKillous.
And down in the bottom left-hand side from Storm Gaming, in the red, it is MaxPax.
You called it, Waddy. No ramp in the natural is not going to stop the young Danish phenom for going for that low ground pylon and a potential 1-gate fast expand. But I also think this is going to invite SKillous to go for some aggression. And I'm sure that if SKillous has done his homework and he knows that there is a good chance he was going to play on this map, that MaxPax will go for low ground stuff. I actually would have liked to see SKillous send out a probe even earlier and almost just proxy a pylon and a gateway and just blindly go for the 3-gate. Because if you do it now, MaxPax will know. Because he has a probe in your main base, he's gonna see when probes leave, and he already knows there is a probe out on the map as well. I almost felt that you could have maybe blind counted this opening from MaxPax.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the one thing I've always thought about MaxPax's PvP. It can be a little bit predictable in terms of the fact that he does so often put that low ground gate down and get the expansion going. And yes, it can change up a lot from there, but, you know, that's once you get to that stage, right? So, yeah, that's... You know, the one thing I do question as well, and I don't disagree. I think you're maybe onto something about what could have perhaps happened in terms of getting set up into all of this.
Yep. Imagine if that probe would have left the main base 5 seconds earlier, and then the probe of MaxPax didn't see it. MaxPax might still look for it though, but it is indeed going to be the 3-gate. If you would have asked me before this game, because when you were doing your whole like, oh, MaxPax could do the 1-gate fast spin, I'm like, yep. And I think that SKillous will probably 3-gate it, because SKillous believes that he can break it. MaxPax believes that he can hold it. Now, the longer that MaxPax doesn't scout the opening of SKillous, the better it will be for SKillous, because MaxPax doesn't know exactly what the correct response is, right? He's gonna go for a Stargate in the main, and I think SKillous will not hate going up against this Adept into Stargate, Waddy.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to throw down his own Stargate as well. I was kind of wondering about that pylon over to the right-hand side. So he goes Stargate of his own. MaxPax has this Adept, seeing the gateway in the center. Obviously, he's going to start building a Stalker already. So MaxPax is going to have to go straight into Void production and basically rely on the shield battery defense on this low ground. There's going to be a lot of pressure coming in real quick, and that's going to be powered up by that Stargate as well.
I'm actually super surprised to see the Stargate. Like, 3-gate is one thing, 3-gate and a proxy Stargate, that's something else. SKillous needs to be very careful. You don't want to take any real damage, but as long as the battery is not up, he can dance. What does he want to shoot at? He did a lot of damage. He's just kind of going to drain the batteries at first. Now, MaxPax does have his second Stalker, so he's going to be fine. It's going to be Voids against Voids. MaxPax also scouting on the right side. Maybe SKillous has done this against him before, but this is the... Like, I actually really wonder, why would you be scouting when you already know you go up against 3-gate, unless he just wants to send this probe into the natural when he sees the Stargate. What the hell, Waddy?
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic info just for, if nothing else, mental preparation about what you're up against. MaxPax has finished a forge, so he's going to start cannons as part of his defense here as well. He's appreciating that he's up a base, and he just needs to hold on to it. So he's going to put everything he can into defending it, Roddy, and I mean, I don't hate that. I think that's going to make life a lot more difficult for SKillous, because cannons in these scenarios are so powerful against low unit numbers where they just get to fire a lot of shots. They're unlikely to be targeted down. Yeah, I kind of really like that, I gotta say.
Yep, I really like how MaxPax has been playing this. His scouting in the early game is so good. He just knows what to look for. He knows how to read these things, and this is looking disastrous for SKillous. He may have 6 army supply more, but I don't think he can do anything with it. The only way I can ever see SKillous win this is if he can get lucky with Void Ray kills. And he needs to go for it when he feels there's a chance. But MaxPax He has done this a million times, Waddy. If anyone can keep Void Rays alive, it has to be that young Danish Protoss.
And that super battery is obviously the one thing that SKillous doesn't have. Is he goes for more Stalkers, his battery is out of energy, so he won't have a lot of wiggle room anymore. He cannot make mistakes. He might get the cybernetic score here. MaxPax playing with less units, but with so much backup for these units. I just don't feel as though SKillous is going to get anywhere. Like, you get the cyber core, but that's pretty much as far as you can go. There's a line beyond that that's hard to tiptoe over. Maybe you start getting a cannon now, but you're fighting in range of all of those batteries every single time.
It's going to be very hard, but he does have a lot of firepower. He just needs to get lucky with Void Ray kill. No, he misclicked. He shot at the gateway. That's disastrous, Waddy. That was, I think, the one opportunity where you kill one Void, you get the second Void. But SKillous misclicked, went for the Void Ray. And that means that his attack is all over. It was always going to be hard. I totally agree. But I could see a world where he has enough firepower to just gun down a Void Ray. And if you get one, maybe you get the second one. And then suddenly, like, cannons will not save you against 12 Stalkers. Oh, that was a painful misclick.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because we saw it the other day. We were casting the PvP, right, with M Canning, and I can't remember the other side. Yes, Trigger. And M Canning just needed to kill a Void Ray, right? And he could have A-moved and killed it, and it would have swung the entire game, but he didn't get the Void Ray. And that was kind of what SKillous just had there. Maybe if he can jump on it, he gets one Void Ray, like you say. It turns into two. It turns into everything else we're talking about. That was his win condition. But yeah, you make a misclick. That's obviously just not going to cut it. And MaxPax is going to jump up to a 2-0 lead with the defense.
It was definitely always going to be hard. I was obviously in full agreement with everything you're saying. And let's not forget that the cooldown of battery overcharge isn't that long. So that second overcharge was only like 10 or 15 seconds away from being ready. But I can still see a world where, especially if MaxPax also is shocked because he loses a Void Ray, then maybe units could derp a little bit. And then if you get one, you get two. And at that point, I do think that SKillous' army is obviously good enough to just gun down batteries one by one. MaxPax really did need to keep his Void Rays alive, but he did, and then SKillous misclicked, and it was all over. And it means that the young Danish Phenom just needs one more map, Waddy, for his career best performance in the DreamHack Masters. I mean, we haven't really touched on that yet, but last season was the first time he made it into the playoffs, and he got a top 8 finish. If MaxPax wins here, he will make it into the top 6 of Europe. And that's honestly an amazing achievement already.
And it's one that we've been somewhat expecting of him for some time now. But let's not forget SKillous. He fought back from 0-2 yesterday. He has had some tough series all throughout this tournament. He can keep his cool when it is required the most. So let's see if he can right now. Is in the top left-hand side. Tournament life on the line. Our Blue Protoss player is SKillous.
And in the bottom right side, we're looking at the main base of a man who just understands PvP at a different level. Hailing from Denmark, it is MaxPax.
What a surprise. A low-ground pylon and a low-ground gateway.
I feel like if you can break him on Jagannatha, it's going to be even harder to break him on Romanticide. There is not like a real ramp. It's not Blackburn Oxide, but this is still very annoying because if you want to be aggressive through the bottom, then you just have to take a big detour or you have to proxy something there, but it becomes really obvious. I am genuinely not sure. You know what I would like to see from SKillous? I mean, this is my low Grandmaster League opinion, okay? So don't actually do this, SKillous. But what I like to do sometimes is pretend that you're aggressive in these scenarios, but then not actually be aggressive and do something super wild, like take the base with the Rich Vespian Geyser. Because if it then turns into Stargate against Stargate, you can build Phoenixes, and MaxPax may not necessarily be 100% sure what's going on. Like, I think faking aggression is honestly a pretty good way in trying to get ahead when your opponent does have the quicker expand. Because sometimes they do invest a lot into batteries and stuff.
Yeah, no, I can actually see how it works, playing the mind games and stuff. It can be a cool way to go about it. I feel like I've seen something like that before, Roddy. Maybe I was casting one of your games. Maybe yes.
Did it work? Okay. Stop talking, Waddy. Stop talking. Moving on.
All right. What's the next strategy we're going to talk about, Roddy? Judge you on that one too. Stargate goes down. Obviously, this is one of the things about MaxPax, right? Just because he goes for this low ground gateway doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go for the expansion right away and all of that. He sometimes mixes it up with the Stargate. He loves to do that, in fact. And that will be what he does here as he fights his way through this pylon and gets out of this block.
Cybercore would actually be good here because Zealot and Adept, they obviously don't have that much DPS, so it's going to take a little while. MaxPax still is going to send his first Adept to the other side of the map immediately. MaxPax also wants to maybe get a cybernetic score down. SKillous sees it. Man, that pylon, by the way, that's so close to the circle. I hope he's not blocking his own Nexus. I don't think he is, but...
Yeah, it's one of those, like, touching... It's like pixel perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's one square long, and it probably would be. And so it makes us a little bit nervous. It's always hard to judge when you're just, like, looking at it and you start second-guessing yourself. Right? It's like, wait, is it blocked? Is it not? As we do have Oracle coming up. And this time, SKillous, I do like his Twilight going to be way faster than MaxPax is, right? So he's going to be straight to Blink. And he'll have that advantage to play with for a little while as well.
Yep. MaxPax still the one with the quicker expando. SKillous is going to drop his Nexus, and indeed it was pixel perfect. This Adept is going to sneak in. Oh, this is actually annoying, man, because now MaxPax gets the scout that he wasn't supposed to get yet. The Oracle was going to see it eventually. MaxPax might get a probe as well. Does not get a probe. Good save by SKillous.
Yeah, I mean, that's something at least the Oracle is going to decide what it wants to do as well. He obviously already knows what's exactly in this main base, and he does now going to try his luck, but 2 Stalkers and a Sentry, enough to turn it around at least. So that is something good from SKillous, just 9 any damage being done there. And as we just have ourselves, the MaxPax about to be up on a natural, and a Robo coming down with a Void Rain production, cancels it and goes another Oracle though.
Oh, yeah. I was actually like, why are we making a Void Ray? Is he going to go full Hellraiser on us? He cancels again. MaxPax a bit indecisive. That Void Ray was more than halfway done, buddy. Why would you cancel it then? To then make another Oracle, to then go into the Void Ray again? I feel that maybe MaxPax is a tiny bit concerned that this Nexus is somewhat fake. But now you see the extra probes, you see the battery. Like, not that he was going to cancel it. Wait, did he canceled it again? He canceled it again.
It must have just been that he was thinking, like you say, the Nexus wasn't actually a real commitment to a Nexus, that maybe there was just a lot of attack behind it. But like you say, he sees them probes and he says, okay, I really am safe here. So yeah, just a little bit of unsureness from MaxPax, a little bit of second guessing himself, and that kind of hurts.
That was Oracle into Void Ray, into Oracle, into Void Ray, into Oracle in the end. Oh well, MaxPax obviously is not going to lose the game against it. That stasis trap is actually... Yep. What are you going to do then? Oh, he's going to try to trigger it and not trigger it. Oh, well done, SKillous. Well done.
Nicely done. That was a cute little trick, and obviously saves you a whole bunch of trouble as well. So yeah, exactly what you want to do, and you can get a third down immediately. This kind of feels like it's the start that SKillous needs to start getting himself a bit back, into this series, Roddy. Everything's been going well. MaxPax is second-guessing himself a little bit and isn't playing, as pristinely as he might usually. SKillous' defense against these Oracles has just typically been very good as well. He's been consistently strong with those defenses, just putting the Stalkers in the right positions. Those Oracles have not been given too much of a chance at all.
6 minutes in, I definitely do think it's safe to say this is the best position that SKillous has been in. He has taken no damage, right? Other than losing 1 drop or something against the Oracle. He's going up to 3 bases quicker than MaxPax. He already has Blink against double Oracle, so he really shouldn't take that much damage. He's got Charge on the way. MaxPax on the other end does have Blink, so it's not like he's going to hit a devastating timing. Unless MaxPax wants to hit with 2 Immortals and Blink Stalkers and +1. But by the time he's going to hit, Charge is done. SKillous has not too many gates, but he's going up to 4. I don't know if Immortals can really make the difference here, Waddy.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit, as we do just have the 2 of them sitting out the front. I like the Dark Shrine because I feel like now is the Dark Shrine's time to maybe, get you into the game a little bit from where you were not in the game before. It definitely feels like you need something, and the DT Shrine to me is just kind of the best maybe option at the moment for MaxPax, who is launching an attack up to the top side. Any potential here just to fake out? What we thinking, Roddy?
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe if the Oracles gun down Zealots, it could work, right? Because Oracles do extra damage against Zealots. SKillous is going to see this relatively late. He's going to see the Stalkers now. Needs to warp in as many units as possible. He's got a couple force fields to work with too. Goes for extra Stalkers for now. I don't think there is too much potential here, unless SKillous really messes up, but I don't see any reason why he would do such a thing.
Yeah, it should just be a pretty stable defense that we have coming out right now. And yeah, I mean, 2 Immortals can be scary, but I feel like there's almost so many Stalkers that the 2 Immortals can't do that much. Maybe once the Skillous to blink onto those Immortals, into that stasis, that's where you could turn this fight around, but Skillous is not going to take that bait. So if that was the plan from MaxPax, it's not quite worked.
SKillous does still have 2 Stalkers defending against the Oracles and should be able to kill 1 here. Blink and kill. Blink and kill. SKillous distracted by the main army. Missed opportunity there for SKillous. Definitely could have picked up one Oracle, but he was busy dropping some force fields. He's going to force field in an Immortal, but there is also a lot of Dark Templar showing up in the main base. SKillous will win this fight, but the question, no, he blinks into that stasis that MaxPax has placed a little while ago. And now MaxPax is finding a lot of damage. There are 2 observers on the map. One of them is going to make its way over to the main base, but MaxPax has found that potential that we wondered if it was there in the first place.
Yeah, GT's just killing 15 probes. Robo will go down. That slows you down a lot, right? Like you say, there's already observers, so it's not that, a big deal in that regard, but just a big deal in general is now these DTs do get cleaned up a little bit, but the damage has been done. Chaotic moments, both players messing up their macro a little bit, Roddy, something you don't see from these guys all that often, and for both of them to be doing it at the same time sort of speaks to what just happened there.
Yeah, well, I think in SKillous' defense, all his gateways were unpowered, so it was hard for him to spend his money, right? Literally, all his production facilities were unpowered. The Robo even got picked off, so he wasn't able to spend his money. For MaxPax, I'm gonna let it slide because he was literally controlling an army on the top, dropping DTs in 2 different places, and still looking for damage with the Oracle still. And as long as he's keeping SKillous busy, it's not like he needs to spend that money immediately, so I think priorities there, and I think MaxPax's priorities were actually in the right place.
Yeah, just like I say, so chaotic, such a crazy few moments with lots happening in different places. So here we go with Stalkers looking to attack from SKillous. He wants to make a bit of a move here. He is down an upgrade right now, Roddy, as well. MaxPax has got that +2 already in place, so that's something to think about. Is yeah, 4th does straight up die.
That's nice. It's a little victory for MaxPax. I gotta say, or excuse me, for SKillous, of course. MaxPax did do an amazing job in handling that aggression. At first, you look at that move out and you're like, don't see it going that well. Like, I know you still have the Oracles there that can threaten, pull some units out of position. But I was like, I don't think your army is that much better that you can win a fight on your opponent's side of the map, near a battery as well. I was like, this could really backfire. You could lose everything and then could just lose the game. Instead, he still finds a way to turn that attack into a very successful one. But at least SKillous got a little point on the board and has done a really good job in immediately rebuilding all the probes he lost. Could kill the Oracles now. Yep, double kill. Well done by SKillous.
Yeah, a couple of better moments for sure, as we're just going to be seeing him looking to defend his 4th base, just sitting out there, not pushing across the map once again. MaxPax's going to have that Dark Templar Shadow Stride though, Roddy, and I always feel like that's such a dangerous upgrade to be playing against because the potential it gives to those DTs is crazy. It allows you to do so much with them as this Warp Prism is being chased down and is eventually going to get shot down as well. Took a turn, speeding up its demise, but well, SKillous coming straight across the map. Now he's dealt with the Warp Prism, he can maybe fully focus on an attack for a few moments. Doesn't have to worry about DTs defensively for a little bit. He does have to worry a lot about those disruptors though, and he's now going to go triple Stargate as his own tech choice.
I think it's for Phoenix to lift the disruptors, and I wouldn't be surprised if SKillous also decides to drop a Dark Shrine. Something that SKillous and Hellraiser are both very good at is sniping observers with Phoenixes and then just creating a lot of chaos and letting their Dark Templar shine. Obviously, SKillous' economy took a serious beating, so he has not been able to afford the Dark Shrine yet, but I wouldn't hate to see that eventually, as MaxPax is going to get a cancel in his base on the left side. Wow, SKillous canceled that before even being attacked once.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, whoa, he just knows what's coming. Well, this army's going to get caught a little bit in a weird spot for SKillous. Just a couple of units pathing different directions, and one poor Stalker that was sent out ahead is going to straight up go down in its entirety. Yeah, I mean, MaxPax, he wants to almost be aggressive, but knows he can't maybe fight straight in. He's building a Colossus, Roddy. That seems like a kind of a wild choice at this stage.
Yeah, very random. They can be good against all the Zealots, but I actually think MaxPax could be in trouble here. His Disruptors are very far behind, and he doesn't know that Phoenixes are here. SKillous, if you're ever going to win a fight, this right here is the fight you're going to win. SKillous is going to pounce on his army. MaxPax is looking for damage with DTs on the top side, and he probably will. But the question is, how well can SKillous do in this fight? The answer is not well enough, as MaxPax has done a really good job in getting himself out of a problematic position.
Yeah, these DTs might straight up kill a Nexus this way. They're going to go for it. Super Battery's going to come through. He was on his way to killing that pylon that was powering it. You know what? Doesn't matter. The Nexus goes down anyway. Yeah, that's really nice from MaxPax, getting some really good damage. Got his army away from what looked to be maybe the more troublesome position. Just well handled once again. MaxPax really bringing it right now, Roddy.
I would have loved to see SKillous go through the right side, where his army currently is, like the little rock and the flowers. I think he should have gone through the right side and then also take the right side of the bridge. Then I think you could really force the fight. Because now, even though he was setting up a split engagement, it was still that he kind of just all came from the left, and that allowed MaxPax to get out of danger. I also think if we're building this many Phoenixes, we should also get +1 air weapons. I know it's not the most important thing now, because it's mostly just to lift the Disruptors. But I still think if you have this many, you may as well just get that extra DPS, because it does really make a difference. And MaxPax is getting a bunch of Colossus, so if your Phoenixes survive the fight, they can just start chipping away at the Colossi.
Yep. No, absolutely. As we're going to be seeing MaxPax, though, find SKillous completely out of position. There's a lot of probes going down main base as well. This left side base goes down. SKillous even gave up on coming over here to contest this. He kind of just said, oh, I'll just sit on this base down here instead. But
can this be
that's not the sort of stuff you can do. Yeah, I mean, SKillous has one massive army. He needs to jump on these Disruptors, and MaxPax really doesn't notice it. Now he's going to start firing all of them. Disruptors, they all go the same way, though. They all hit the same units. The Phoenix come in, lifting a bunch of units as well. Be really cool from MaxPax, as he is losing so much here. All of his tech gone, and SKillous might just walk across the map and win the game.
Yeah, but it's still... I feel SKillous has a bad army to fight in range of cannons and batteries, and I'm sure you agree with me, right? Like, it's kind of now or never. SKillous has lost so many probes. You've got 50 army supply more. This is it. You may as well try to run into the natural. We're going to fight these cannons instead. I feel like he's giving extra time to MaxPax.
Yeah.
SKillous, he's got a little bit of eco. Look at the amount of observers coming in, by the way. He's like, I'm not losing to DPs. But every second that goes by is one that is heavily in favor of MaxPax, who is getting his own Templar Archives too for some extra Archons. I think SKillous should have ran up that ramp, closed his eyes, and prayed, because the longer this goes on, the worse it gets for him.
Man, that's what I thought he was going to do. That's where I was like, he's going to go and just run across the map and kill him. But no, just kind of takes too long. And playing a safe game when he doesn't have a safe game to play. Here we go. The Phoenix is going to lift a couple of Disruptors. Stalker's blinking through. The Archons are struggling to get in range because there's so many of them from SKillous as he makes this play to try and win it out. The Super Battery's doing everything it can to keep MaxPax alive. MaxPax's supply is dropping, Roddy. He can't seemingly get through this army of SKillous, and SKillous maybe didn't wait too long, is pushing through and is clearing up everything.
Yep, MaxPax does have a couple of DTs on the other side of the map, killing even more probes, but SKillous doesn't give a damn. 16 probes and a dream at this point for the young Russian, as he's also going to kill a lot of probes. MaxPax is going to try to just wipe in a few more units, but yeah, okay, now if SKillous can indeed just kill every base, then it's okay to just go home again. He is losing even more probes. So do we have a defensive observer? We do, we just don't have the units. Wouldn't hate it if he recalled the Phoenix or something. Is that what he's done? He's just flying them home. Yeah, I mean, I think that SKillous has done it, even though he's got 2 probes. But it's not like MaxPax's probes are really going to mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, where's he going to have the time to build anything, right? He's down so much army. He's going to try and warp in here. Taps out GG. SKillous is going to make it happen. He is going to win this game 3. And once again, standing up in the face of a 0-2 deficit and says, you know what? That doesn't mean I'm down and out. I mean, he was really looking bad in this game, and I guess the one major moment was, I mean, there's an army graph here, Roddy, and you can just see that fight where MaxPax didn't realize what was going on, walked all of his Disruptors into trouble, and that's where it all turned in favor of SKillous, and he gets the job done. We are going to go to a quick little break. When we come back, it is game number 4 of this best of 5.
왜 자꾸 흔들리는지 바보 같은지 Your 앞에서 뭐라 해도 안 들려 지금 내 멋대로 난 해볼래 그래도 어떡해 결국 후회도 내가 해 바보 같긴 해도 후회는 싫은걸 반복되는 것도 다 못 견딜 일인걸 돌아오지 않는걸 좋은 추억이 많은 걸 우리 함께한 노래 그 약속까지 난 잊지 못해 소중히 간직할게 널 잊으려고 해도 내 맘이 또 흔들려 지워보려 해도 내 심장은 흔들리는데 왜 자꾸 흔들리는데 참 바보 같은지 내 주위의 사람들 하나같이 말려도 머리에 생각도 아니라고 말을 하는데 왜 자꾸 흔들리는지 참 바보 같은지 나도 왜 이러는지 그리움에 빠진지 이런 내 모습은 또 처음이야 나도 모르겠어 또 사랑을 하는 게 처음으로 느껴본 거야 이런 적 없었다고 널 잊으려고 해도 내 맘이 또 흔들려 지워보려 해도 내 심장은 흔들리는데 왜 자꾸 흔들리는데 참 바보 같은지 내 주위의 사람들 하나같이 말려도 머리에 생각도 아니라고 말을 하는데 왜 자꾸 흔들리는지 참 바보 같은지
Welcome back, everybody, to the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Fall European Playoffs as MaxPax leads 2-1 over SKillous. We thought we were looking at a 3-0, but one big fight going wrong for MaxPax sent SKillous into a winning position, Roddy, that we were still scared. Like, it was maybe like he wasn't pulling the trigger soon enough, but worked out for him in the end. His army was just that much better.
What a wild fight, right? In range of cannons and batteries, battery overcharge, but he was able to lift everything. There was one disruptor shot that could have changed it all, but SKillous somehow found the disruptor and either killed it or lifted it. I don't even know what happened. So many things went down, but one hell of a game. That means this man gets a point on the board, and he ain't down yet. In the top right side of 2K Atmosphere, we're looking at the main base of the young Russian. It is SKillous.
Taking on the young Danish player in the bottom left-hand side in the red, it is MaxPax.
Man, it's so crazy that it felt that MaxPax was there with his army before and he could have been in trouble, but then he got out of trouble just in time and then he did so much economic damage and then you're like, that's kind of it. But obviously the downside, and this is something we often see in ZVZ, but it goes for PvP as well, is when you kill so many probes that your opponent's army is going to be really big because they do still have some economy. They have all their infrastructure. And when that big fight took place, obviously the engagement was amazing because all the disruptors were exposed and that allowed SKillous to kill most of them. But he also had like a solid 30 supply more. And that obviously helps too.
Yeah, having lost all those probes, he was kind of put in that position where it's like, well, I only have one army, but boy, what an army it is. And it definitely helped him in that final fight as well, for sure, as he was just able to really brute force his way into a third map victory. Low ground gateway, again from MaxPax, nothing we haven't seen before. We'll see what he wants to attempt to do here, as SKillous on the other side of the map is just on a single gate himself, with the second one finishing now. So he will see what he wants to ramp up into to maybe try and do something about this setup for MaxPax.
Yep. Earlier we saw the 3-gate with the proxy Stargate attempt. That one did not quite work out. The misclick was painful, but even without the misclick, it was looking pretty dire. Let's see what SKillous has in mind this game. It could just be 2 Stalkers into trying to expand himself, but then he does know that he is going to be a little bit behind. He will drop the Cybernetics core too, but all of this is an investment that SKillous is obviously not making. MaxPax is making. Let's see what SKillous decides to do. It's going to be the quick Twilight and probably just try to expand as quickly as possible. Needs to kill the probe. And, well, the pilot won't even finish up.
Probe gets out of there, so it's just going to slide away. Yes, that's Twilight Council from SKillous.
Sorry,
Depth gets past the Stalkers, right? Going to cause problems.
This is going to be bad, man. It's obviously not as bad as 2 adepts, but even 1 adept can definitely get a couple of kills here. It's going to bait out the recall. That is 1 dead probe. I actually wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I feel like he didn't need to run to the other side. I'm not sure why he ran over there instead of just committing further into the mineral line already.
Seems like
they're trying to get range of the Stalkers.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe. I feel like if you would have gone in deeper, you can guarantee yourself 2, maybe even 3 probe kills.
Yeah. I'm with you. I kind of thought it was like a weird move. And then you hit the probes in the gas, which can do exactly what they did, which is like they hide in the gas, you can't hit it again. It's like, oh, this is actually the worst case scenario. But yeah, maybe, like we say, maybe just trying to avoid Stalker shots for a little while. Thought they'd have to chase the other way and all of that, as well as we do just continue into Twilight Council for MaxPax too. So he's going to be ready to match Blink with Blink. His will be that much later. But of course, he's hoping this Oracle can deal some damage to make up for that as he dives straight in for only 1 worker kill. I was going to say, that feels like a bit of a misplay. He goes too far through. And I mean, that's just a super low HP Oracle now. And that means you can't be as aggressive with it from, for the rest of the game now.
Compare that to Oxide, right? Where the thing was still super healthy, 16 minutes in. No, this is not that bad for SKillous. The one downside is that he is down 5 workers, but his expand is up a bit quicker. And I think that can make for that little economic deficit that he's in. And on top of that, he's going to have super quick access to Twilight. I definitely don't hate it for SKillous, man. He's got that extra gateway. So it is very, very playable. I think this is about as even as it gets. MaxPax maybe tiny economic advantage, but that's the only thing that he really has going for himself.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. As we just have that Forge coming through versus a Robo on the way up from SKillous. What do we want to rush the Robo for here, Roddy? Is there anything to take there? Just, scared of DTs?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Obviously, SKillous has less info than MaxPax has. He does have the sentries, but this is like his first proper scout, and I think he's just afraid that he loses a game against DTs very quickly.
That does just edge MaxPax into a bit of a lead when it comes to the upgrades, and we know how important upgrades can be in mirror matchups, so that's going to be nice. He will have the edge on the +1, and that's something that can obviously be kind of vital throughout the game, because then you take a lead on +2 a lot of the time, even +3. It just creates so many timings for you in the future, in fact.
To confirm my he is afraid of DT's theory, he actually started a second observer, and then he cancelled it when his Phoenix flew over the 3rd base. And then SKillous is like, all right, there's no way you can afford 3 bases and a Stargate opening, and also the couple of stocks that you have, and then also go Dark Shrine. So I don't need my second observer, but he was definitely worried about DTs.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, as we do have MaxPax running out to the right-hand side. And he's going to be the one to try and put on pressure now that his Blink is done. So let's see what he can do fighting around this 3rd base. I mean, obviously there's unity defensively, and MaxPax just says, yeah, I mean, he's just happy to kind of see what's going on more than anything else.
He's like, all right, I'm just going to try to make you a little bit uncomfortable. SKillous is still scouting with hallucinated phoenixes. He wants to see the amount of probes, and that's obviously going to give him the idea on whether or not he needs to build more probes himself. Seems like the answer is yes, as he saw MaxPax was transferring quite a few workers. We've got a game. I gotta say, the boys are not disappointing, man. Like, I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh no, let's not hope that the TVTs are epic and the PvPs are lame and everything ends in 7 minutes. But I think these two are putting on one hell of a show so far. And As a StarCraft fan and Protoss fan, I am not disappointed.
Fantastic way to start the day. I know it's a common saying, but it really is this one. It's been a great series and setting up for another fun map. In 2000 atmospheres, obviously has so many bases you can take as well, a lot of attack paths. It really can be, promising a pretty long game and some back and forth action, lots of counter attacks and stuff. All the things that have made those previous games very exciting.
Yep. SKillous getting a couple of cannons. Just that man has lost a few too many games against Dark Templars, I think, when he should have had. He's been very worried about it for the last few minutes, and I'm sure that eventually we will get to a Dark Shrine. If we both get up to 4 bases, it's almost a crime not to get a Dark Shrine in this day and age.
Yeah, Dark Shrine is obviously one of those things which is it's just part of your build order, like a very late on part of the build order, right? Maybe not build order, but strategy. It's just something that's almost always worth investing into. It can just provide so much value, so much, can put so much fear in your opponent. It's just very powerful later in the game.
Pretty surprised that MaxPax has such a big army lead, but I guess SKillous just didn't really wipe in that many units and has been mostly investing in all the gateways first. So he's going to be able to catch up, and now it's obviously very close again. And one thing I'm a bit worried about for SKillous is that MaxPax could potentially force a fight with +2, but he's still working on his own +2. But if I have to choose between having +2 or having a battery or 2 in the back, then I think I prefer to have a battery or 2. So I think that SKillous will be fine. It's not TVT. These Protoss units don't fire a million bullets in every 2 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice, but it's not going to necessarily change everything. As RoboBay comes up, is this the first time we've seen SKillous really making a bid for disruptors? It feels like that's always been MaxPax in this series.
Yep, it seems that SKillous just thinks like, all right, we're both kind of doing the same thing. And I know that it's going to be very hard for me to be aggressive because that obviously exposes myself at home, and then maybe he could take a lot of damage. It's like, let's just see if I can get away with attacking into disruptors. MaxPax is making a lot of units though, and he's definitely gearing up for a big attack. SKillous has not seen his army move out yet. Batteries and cannons are nice, but you definitely need to be somewhat close in army supply. SKillous realizing that, he's going to warp in 9 zealots. I think he should be able to survive. 2 disruptors on the way, and even if MaxPax would force the fight right here, right now, by the time that these extra Archons are done finishing up, these disruptors are halfway out. MaxPax, no, SKillous, you need to keep your cannons and batteries alive, and he will. Disruptors are going to be out, and I think 2 disruptors, that should be enough to stabilize, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just so scary trying to fight into them. You got to respect them so much in your movement, and then if one does connect, that obviously helps SKillous out a lot as well. So I'd say that this is probably just going to be fine. MaxPax will not quite find his moment to break through, so his army supply advantage probably doesn't come to much right here. Unless he's going to make a big dive on top of disruptors, but I mean, that generally is not the smart way to play PvP. We blinked a little bit, MaxPax starts to break out a fight, but doesn't really go anywhere yet, and those disruptors are indeed ready.
Yep, upgrades are even, but SKillous has 2 disruptors out. MaxPax is going to drop his own Robo Bay and 2 additional facilities now, realizing that this is probably going to turn into a disruptor war. He's not going to be happy when he sees, whoa, you already have them? I'm thinking about them. You already have them. And SKillous is like, I guess you don't.
Yeah, definitely, like I said, change of pace as well, where usually MaxPax is in the position where he has them and SKillous does not. The disruptors walk very far forward, and MaxPax, full of confidence, is going to go through and try and fight them. Good split, only 1 Archon hit by that last disruptor shot to fire. And MaxPax, well, he still has to turn away, though. I mean, again, fighting into the defensive position means that SKillous has been able to take a good fight. And it only takes, the disruptors, even when they don't have big connections, they just force so much to happen. All that movement, all that split in his time, you're not just dealing damage. And that's where SKillous, alongside batteries, is able to turn a lot of that around. Now MaxPax's going to dive across to the other side of the map and go for that base. I love that move, and he's actually going to get there pretty quickly, but he isn't going to pull the trigger. He's going to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Waddy. Even though the shots were not that big, because only 1 disruptor kind of connected, but it's just that SKillous forces MaxPax to run away, forces him to split. While all of that is happening, MaxPax is not winning the fight. If anything, he's just not taking damage. SKillous is aware of that. He's going to blink forward. Somewhat of a questionable forward blink. Good force was going down there. However, the disruptor count is still in favor of SKillous. He's got 6. I don't really know where they are. Okay, they're trailing behind a little bit. MaxPax is trying to catch up real quick, though. He's got 3 himself, and 3 additional are on the way. And let's not forget about the prism that MaxPax still has idling near the main base. But Losing that observer for SKillous actually really did suck. Oh, this is MaxPax firing first, and that means MaxPax gets the double kill on 2 Disruptors, and SKillous now realizes that he is gonna have to fight fire with fire.
A double kill and just being up a robo facility, and all of a sudden MaxPax is up in the Disruptor count. We're gonna take this fight here. Disruptor's still flying through. Big connection for SKillous. Hits the Archons, clips a couple of Zealots as well. MaxPax obviously wants to defend this base, but he's not quite gonna be able to get there as SKillous keeps on hammering down it. There go the DTs into the main though, so that's gonna be a problem. As now Disruptor's firing here, just blinks out of there in time, SKillous. But well, I mean, it's been exciting on either side. We'll see what the DTs are up to, because I feel like they are absolutely going to start putting work. But no, Zealots and a cannon, good defense. And yeah, actually just MaxPax defended, and SKillous will one deal more damage.
Yeah, really sick by SKillous, man. He's actually playing so well. I'm really impressed. He could see that prism there. Ooh, he caught a glimpse of it. MaxPax also spotting those Zealots, realizing that the prism could be in trouble. Really good attack by SKillous. That moment where he blinked forward, 2 Disruptors went off. I'm like, oh my god! And he just got enough on both of them. And he had to actually split his fire, right? Because if all Stalkers would have just shot at one Disruptor, the other one would have gone off. So he kind of had to split up the fire and make sure it was barely enough to gun down both Disruptors, and it was. It does suck for SKillous that he didn't get the kill on the base in the end, but he does know that he is able to get that base up in the top left side. And if you speak of static defenses, Wadi, I think the base in the top left, I think it's safe against a couple of Zealots.
I think so. I think that might be just about enough to hold that one off. As we're going to be seeing a weird fight over here. Stalkers take on Disruptors, and we have to dance away and dive away. We do have another Disruptor shot that was almost on top of MaxPax's own army, as he's trying to push through here and trying to get in a position. He is getting some decent Disruptors. And again, that supply lead to SKillous disappears very quickly if a Disruptor or 2 just connects properly.
Yeah, MaxPax did make a little boo-boo there. He flew the prism over the cannon that's in that mineral line, and I think 2 DTs were still inside of it too. But more importantly, without the prism, you don't really want to stick around forever. SKillous is thinking of setting up a little sandwich, but MaxPax already retreated. And now SKillous does move out with his main army. It is 7 Disruptors against 2 though. SKillous is just going to try to pounce on his army from multiple ways. MaxPax still has the Zeldaga Watchtower and lands some really big Purification Novas, and who cares about the fact that MaxPax's army was smaller, but he is still in danger of losing a couple of Disruptors. This game has just gone bananas. There are 2 armies fighting each other. SKillous barely. Okay, one Stalker is left that picks up 1 more Disruptor, but MaxPax got some really big victories there, and SKillous is suddenly in a bit of trouble. He's got a lot of gas, but Archons are not going to save you when your opponent has 1,000,000 Disruptors. MaxPax doesn't anymore though. He only has 2 Disruptors left, but oh, SKillous, you were in such a good spot. You kind of let it slip away.
That Watchtower was huge, because you could see MaxPax's conscious decision. He said, oh, you're on the way. Let me just turn my Disruptors around and just intercept your army. And SKillous was not watching. He did not have the vision. He thought he was setting up for a surround still. And it was just the perfect move for MaxPax to give himself an advantage. He then won the fight left side too, because he was chasing down half an army with his whole army. It was just beautifully done, and MaxPax now is looking as though he's going to be able to, well, just keep on pushing through. He gets rid of the Disruptors of SKillous as well, and now it's going to be all static defense to try and keep SKillous alive. A new Disruptor just shows up, and he gets blinked on immediately. Doesn't even get a chance to do much. Cannons are probably going to save themselves against the DTs. MaxPax taking damage from DTs as well. Those are something else we got to keep an eye on.
A lot of damage. Good forward blink there by MaxPax, because if he lost the Disruptors, he'd be in trouble. Can SKillous keep his Stalkers alive? For now, he can. Still hanging in there, and SKillous was just down 60 supply, has now retaken the army supply lead. MaxPax has no prism here, so he can't stick around forever. SKillous with his Dark Templars in the left side, actually finding a way to claw himself back into this game. Wants a little more. I don't know if going for these cannons is the right choice. I mean, SKillous, this is a very valuable army that you can afford to lose, and he's gonna try to recall whatever he can. Actually, he saves most of them. Wadi, these games are bananas, man. What a joy it is to watch, to see these 2 youngsters duke it out.
I can't believe SKillous just bounced back up in supply. MaxPax just, I mean, that's just PvP, right? We always go on about, oh, PvP can be crazy, it can be wild. This is the definition of that. As Stalker sees the DTs, there's going to be a weird fight, because the DTs can do a lot of damage very quickly if you're not careful, but they can also be kited, and in the end, the DTs back away.
MaxPax a little bit out of position to deal with this army. It's Zealot, Stalkers, and 1 Archon, but I see no Observer here for SKillous. You've got 5 Observers on the map, amigo. Okay, they're near the... Okay, now they're actually joining up with the army. Oh, that's a shame, because I feel like there was a little opening there to maybe pick up that pylon, you empower the cannon.
Yeah. Oh, no, there absolutely was. It was probably one of the better chances we've seen for SKillous, with MaxPax being out of position defensively in a while outside of the previous DTs. Yeah, it was a good option, but was missed, unfortunately, as SKillous still has an army to this right-hand side. Supplies were already almost dead even between the two. SKillous has a shield upgrade, which might help in a close game, might make a bit of a difference at some stage. So one more thing to watch out for in this mess of mayhem.
SKillous is making so many DTs. I actually think he could go back into Disruptors, because the Dark Templars didn't just kill the base and the cannons. You know what they also killed? 2 Robos. So MaxPax is down to being 1 Robo again. But SKillous is like, you know what? I don't want to make Disruptors. I just want to make 17 DTs with Blink and Blink on top of your army. I don't know if this can ever work, but he's going to try to make it work. He's very patient with his Blink. Now he blinks forward. But MaxPax was already out of the woods. A couple of DTs left behind. SKillous wants to get this base. SKillous might get this base, but I'm afraid he's going to lose a buttload of supply here too. There is a battery overcharge, but it's far away from the Stalkers. What the hell is happening in this fight? It does seem like it's favoring MaxPax for now.
Yeah, I mean, just so many DTs of SKillous going down. They got caught up kind of fighting on the Nexus for a little while. And as all those DTs go down, SKillous has the much better Stalker count. And if they don't have to go running away from DTs, they can chase the Stalkers of SKillous. And that's what will start happening here as SKillous also just has a bunch of Observer Sieges up that are dying too. And that could be a big problem later as well. His last few Stalkers getting caught. MaxPax will have a blink in a moment to keep chasing. He stopped for a second. He might want to be careful about blinking just in case there's more DTs about to show up and he gets caught unawares. But it looks like now MaxPax has full momentum in his favor, and he's just going to keep on going forward here, chasing down all of these Stalkers. And what is SKillous even building to deal with this? He's going to have a huge Warbin. It is just more Stalkers. He's going to try and defend with the super battery, but MaxPax says, cool, then we just will not fight here.
Yeah, there are 2 more batteries on the left side too. This is very hard to micro for SKillous, of course, because he's going to have to blink Stalker micro on 2 sides. He does have a better economy, but he is losing a lot of units, and he's still down 30 army supply. I think he got a little too carried away with all those Dark Templars. They didn't quite get that wraparound that you're dreaming of. SKillous goes for a defensive blink here. He's going to try to rely on that 1 cannon, the 2 batteries. There are more static defenses on the left. MaxPax does not have a Prism here, so I don't know if he can really stick around forever.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that, SKillous has been reinforcing. He's got batteries, so he's just been trading a little better over time, right outside of the better numbers. Now MaxPax was about to get Zealots here, and he thinks twice about fighting. He is going to go for it now. Zealots charge on in, and they might just be the buffer he needs, but they go down very quickly, and SKillous has his own Zealots. Now he warps in more Stalkers. Stalker on Stalker once again. The batteries are just out of energy, and a few more Zealots warp in. MaxPax disengages with an army lead, but it's so tough to say when they've been there for too long, right? I mean, these are crazy fights. He might have been around a second too long.
I actually think that SKillous has stabilized. Like, I know he needs to survive one more storm, but he's already looking for economic damage in the bottom right side. MaxPax once again on top of these batteries. Battery overcharge is ready again, of course. Snipes another observer, but the DTs in the bottom left side, they're going to force out a recall of a couple of Dark Templars by the looks of it. But SKillous has absolutely stabilized, and he has stabilized with a 17-worker lead. This game is more back and forth than a ping-pong match, but I think SKillous is back in the lead, Wardy.
I think so too, right? Just another, an incredible hold out of nothing. He had so little, just kept warping in Zealots and Stalkers. And I think, this could have been the difference of if MaxPax just had reinforcements on the front line. He probably wins, right? But instead he did not, and he kept on going anyway. And that just gave SKillous the fights that he needed and some of the trades he needed. And here we are in just absolute mayhem part 2, part 3, part 4. I don't even know what part we're on. It was been a ridiculous game.
It's a sequel number 14 at this point, but SKillous has done such a good job in expanding. He has a base in the top left side that is very exposed. MaxPax turned around for a split second. These DTs have a lot of potential. SKillous does still have his Prism in the bottom right. but he realizes that now he's losing some probes in the top left. We haven't built disruptors in a long time. I guess the game is just a little too fast-paced and mobile for disruptors to really shine. And while MaxPax is pulling SKillous out of position, he is looking for observer kill number 12, I feel like. Oh my god, it's 18! I thought I was exaggerating, but SKillous has lost 18 observers in this game.
Man, you know, I was like, you know what, Roddy, you might be spot on with 12, but yeah, 18 is just a testament to how good MaxPax has been at picking those off. And the fact, I mean, that's so much gas that's gone. That's like 1,000 gas on observers alone this game from SKillous. That is truly expensive. That is, yeah, I mean, that's just something to think about for a moment. Wow.
Yeah. He has an observer now in the top left. He's going to build 2 more. That's 22 observers in one game. An observer per minute. And OPM. Opium.
Well, we do have another fight breaking out. A couple of DTs are going to blink, believing they can get some more damage done. No observer here for the moment as MaxPax is the... It's funny that SKillous is ahead on army supply, but he's never the one that seems confident to take any of these fights lately.
No, but he is going to try to engage again this base in bottom right side. A very important one. He's going to bring his observer too. You can lose your observer. Oh no, look at this. DTs are actually derping a little bit in the mineral line. As SKillous is winning his fight at home, or at least he should be able to be fine at home. He has picked off the cannons. No detection for MaxPax means MaxPax needs to recall. SKillous blinks forward. Gets a couple kills. There was a little fight happening in the top left side too. Literally 3 fights at once happening. Man, these guys are so good and they are so fun to watch. But it does feel that SKillous is still in the driver's seat. Can he get on top of that disruptor? Yes, he can. Blinks forward, gets on top of the stalkers too. This could very well be it, Wardy. I think we are getting ready for a game 5 between these 2 young, amazing European Protoss players. What a game it's been. What an absolute slugfest. Look at the units lost resource tab. It's been so dead even for so long. But SKillous has done it. Lost 20 observers, killed 9. But it's been good enough.
Yeah, I mean, just absolute mayhem in game number 4 as SKillous will be coming out on top. And once again, he's drawn himself back from a 0-2 deficit to perhaps go all the way. I mean, in just ridiculous games too. These games have been swinging all over the place. Nobody really knows who's in the lead for more than a few moments. And as we attack down here, MaxPax has not got anything really left to hold on with at all.
Nope, this is really going to be it. With 18 army supply, there is nothing left that MaxPax could dream of. GG, SKillous ties it up. My goodness. This kid, man. If you talk about facing adversity but still going strong. 1-2 versus Hellraiser in the opening match of the playoffs. Turns it around, wins 3-2. Down 0-2 against Vanya. Wins the best of 5 3-2. Now down 0-2 against MaxPax, but still ties it up and sends us to a game 5. This, I know I'm not allowed to say it's the game of the tournament because that's always supposed to be that crazy TVT on Romance side, but this has to be up there. This was one of the most fun games of the entire season.
Back and forth, one way and another. I mean, there was points where I thought SKillous had it won. There was points where I thought MaxPax couldn't possibly lose. You know, when all those stalkers were fighting forward, I was pretty much convinced that MaxPax was just about to, you know, lock it down and move on through to the top 6. And then just SKillous starts to hold. MaxPax can't quite kill enough. The warpins keep coming. And somehow, once again, SKillous is still alive, still kicking, and just still making it happen. And then, yeah, I mean, so many points just DTs turned the game around, right? Just counterattacks that just did so much that it just swung everything. Madness.
Yep, I feel like the real comeback for SKillous was when his 4 or 5 Dark Templars got on top of the 2 cannons at the triangle base of MaxPax, because that was a very important one for MaxPax. MaxPax tried to end it, but ending it without a War Prism, I mean, I really did feel, and I was totally in agreement with you, slightly quicker warpins or 1.4 zealots. If he could just move 4 zealots that could tank the shots, then his stalkers could blink forward, they get on top of the stalkers of SKillous, and MaxPax would be able to close it out. But when he had that Zelnaga watchtower and he fired those Novas, he was up like 80 supply or something at one point, and it feels like we were getting ready for the end. Little did we know we were just entering the mid-game. Insanity. What a great series so far.
No, absolutely fantastic stuff. And we get to go to Beckett Industries just to make it even crazier for game number 5. One we don't see much. And even in the mirror matchups, it's not super well liked just because it is a very short map. It is a short rush distance, and that can make any sort of early attack very dangerous. It can make any kind of move out that much more abusable. So things to watch out for going into Beckett for our 5th map. SKillous just taking another moment or two. I'm surprised MaxPax didn't need one as well after the last game. Those games, they got to get your heart racing because it's just non-stop kind of edge of your seat stuff for the players all the way throughout.
Yep, I mean, it's a very big moment for both of them. Neither player has ever broken into the top 6 of a European Premier event, so they are going to make history, one of them at least. MaxPax made top 8 last season. I think SKillous has a single top 8 finish under his belt. This does give us a little bit of time before we get ready for Game 5, because obviously not everyone watches every broadcast, and we get that, but there are regional tournaments, and top 4 is very important, because if you make top 4 in the DreamHack Masters Europe, you qualify for the season finals, where you will duke it out with the Koreans, the North Americans, the champion of Latin America, etc. And you want to know a fun fact, Vardy?
Tell me.
This is season 5, right? So we had 4 previous editions where Europe sent 4 representatives to the season finals. In any of those 4 seasons, we've never had a European Protoss represent us at the season finals. It's always been only the Terrans and the Zerg. So these two, obviously a win here is not good enough, but then they will still have a chance as well to be the very first European Protoss to represent the European Protoss brethren at the season finals.
That's crazy as well, because we have had a mix of players. It's not just like it's the same 4 guys every time, and while obviously mostly it is, we have had Marine Lord at season finals. We've had Lambo at the most recent one as well. And yeah, then to not have a Protoss top 4 in a while, well, I don't know what that says about Protoss right now, Roddy, but it is a bit of a shock. So yeah, it could be something else to be talking about as we dive on into game number 5. This is what it's all led up to. He was up 2-0. He needs to calm it down and get his focus back. In the top right, it is MaxPax.
And in the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of the young Russian who's truly embracing the never say die spirit. This is SKillous.
I think SKillous just plays better when he's down 0-2 because he keeps turning these series around from like the deficits, right? He always has to lose out a bit before he bounces back.
I mean, I think he played very solid in game 1. Game 2 was a bit unfortunate. You can call it a builder a mistake because he knew or a builder loss because he knew what he was going up against. It's just a very painful misclick on that gateway in game 2, but even without it, once more, it would have been very hard. I don't know. What I do know is that for MaxPax, this would be, I mean, if I was in his shoes, man, this would be such a difficult game to play because it's always annoying when you're up 2-0 and then suddenly you find yourself in game 5. Like, that always stinks where you feel like, oh no, it's happening. I'm going to get reverse swept. But the worst thing about it, Vardy, is that he was winning Romanticide, but he lost it. He was definitely winning 2K Atmosphere at one point, but he lost that too. I mean, if he wins this and he wants to tweet out, I just 5-0'd SKillous in a best of 5, I'm an absolute beast, I will not be upset because that would be a tweet he could make.
I don't know, Roy. That might be a little bit too edgy for some. It's, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, actually. It has been a series where he was up in every single game, and SKillous has had to come clawing it back. But of course, PvP allows for that more so than a lot of other matchups. It is this matchup where you see those crazy swings, a disruptor shot here, or one fight that just makes everything look bad, or a set of DTs that just change the world. That's the matchup where this can happen more so than any other.
It's so crazy, by the way, that MaxPax is still doing a 1-gate on the low ground. But yeah, this is just what he loves to do. He is so experienced. He is just so confident to play from these scenarios. And I guess his game sense is truly off the charts. And that's why he feels that even on the smallest map we've had in a very long time, back in Industries, at least when it comes to rush distance, he feels confident enough that he can get away with this. SKillous obviously finds himself in that weird spot. This time MaxPax lets the pilot finish up, which is different than that previous game. He gets the 7x score up too. The Adept sneaks in the main base. Last game he only got 1 kill and we felt he could have gotten more. It's already 2 so far. Great start from MaxPax, man. That's 3 kills.
Yeah, just much smoother this time around. He does share the Adept out, so preferring to keep it alive than going for maybe 2 more kills. But yeah, just little things that were slight mistakes last time are absolutely being dealt with properly this time around.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy by SKillous to let that adept sneak in 2 games in a row. Even if it's only a single adept can still really mess up your game. SKillous is still not expanded, man. This is looking bad. He's even getting that shield battery already. The adept shade finishes up. MaxPax, can he get one more? Yes, he does get one more. My goodness, what a start for that young Danish Protoss.
Yeah, that's all damage that adds on up. Here comes the Oracle, of course. SKillous has a pretty good idea that's probably happening. And as the shield battery is about to be done, we'll settle with a revelation. I like that. Get that game where the Oracle just dove in and just went through, took so much damage. Much nicer to keep it healthy and keep it on the map all game long, which we know MaxPax can do from back in that first game.
MaxPax obviously realizing that he's in a really good spot, so he's going to get a second defensive battery, and I don't hate it. SKillous has a pylon going up on the other side of the map, but once that Void Ray is out, man, SKillous right now finds himself in a really weird place where he's like, do I really want to push the issue super hard, yes or no? It seems like the answer is no, but it also means he is pretty far behind in this one. The Twilight Council is not even done yet. What I liked in the other games is like, yeah, maybe a tiny bit behind economically worthy, but super quick blink, and that's really going to give you a very comfortable and peaceful state of mind. This game, I mean, look at the timing of the Twilight Council of MaxPax, but then on top of that, MaxPax has an Oracle and 2 Void Rays.
Yep, yeah, it's definitely just all in MaxPax's favor. The couple of workers in his favor too. The air control. And like you say, obviously Blink just is not going to be that far behind. SKillous needs to get out of here. He does not want to be losing. Stalkers, why did he turn to go for a shot? I mean, I feel like the Stalkers were about to get away. Now you're going to lose one. We're maybe going to lose another as the Void Rays get the speedy boost. And that's 2 Stalkers down. MaxPax is going to walk into this natural expansion. There's a lot of Stalkers here. Maybe MaxPax has gone too far.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think he's just doing this as a distraction maneuver. Stasis in the main base. SKillous is paying attention. Good response there.
Necessary response, because obviously that could have gone very wrong very quickly too if you'd let that continue on and just finish up, of course.
But you know, while all of that was happening, it was obviously a bit uncomfortable for SKillous and painful. He completely forgot to start Blink 2. So even though MaxPax, his Twilight was later, he's actually going to be the one with quicker Blink in this game. And how crazy is that?
That's just not meant to happen, Roddy. These are just little things which just keep going wrong. Unfortunately for SKillous, everything it just seems to be just more well-rounded from MaxPax, but it also feels like we've been here, you know, in the other games of this series, and SKillous has brought it back. So don't worry too much. I mean, he's definitely having a tougher game, but he has shown us that he can make this work.
Big supply block for SKillous. Big supply block. Like, while you started your little sentence, and I didn't want to talk over you, he was already supply blocked, and only now he's firing up those extra pylons. And the Nexus means he cannot build anything for quite some time. Probes are queued up on the Nexus. You can obviously always spend your money on maybe building the gateways a bit quicker and stuff, but that was a pretty big one.
Yeah, that is rough as well. That's one of those things that definitely isn't going to help your case here when you're playing someone like MaxPax. You've had a rough start to the game. You need to tidy it up a bit. Supply blocks obviously aren't doing that.
Did I say SKillous? I obviously meant MaxPax, who was 70 out of 70. I don't know. This has been a wild series, guys, but MaxPax is going to make it to the other side of the map. SKillous a bit out of position. There is a sentry here, too, and that is a dead Nexus, if I've ever seen one. SKillous is about to have Blink. MaxPax has Blink, too, and it almost feels that MaxPax just wants to trade and see if he can get some nice value out of his Void Race, but MaxPax doesn't really need to trade here, Waddy. He just got to cancel on a Nexus. That's already very big, but it seems like he's still looking for more, or he's trying to at least show up in the front, try to get one pick off, and maybe open the door for his one Oracle. But that Oracle is so low on HP, I don't think it's going to get anything done.
Makes so much more sense that MaxPax was supply blocked. I saw SKillous at 60 out of 62. I was like, oh, he's going to be. And then you start talking about it. I was like, oh, yeah. I think I just had SKillous on my mind. So sorry about that, mate.
No worries. Yeah. Oh, okay, forward blinking by SKillous. Okay. Yeah, I feel that MaxPax overstayed his welcome here a little bit. He is going to fly that Oracle into the main base. That Oracle doesn't do anything. Definitely a decent fight for SKillous. But SKillous pretty far behind. MaxPax derping up with the blink a little bit, but the reinforcements have arrived. And it's a lot of reinforcements that have arrived, and that is going to be good enough for MaxPax. And while all of this is going on, Waddy, it's 3 bases against 2.
Man, I saw the army supply. I was like, well, MaxPax still has so much army supply, but where is it? And all of those Stalkers show up at the end there, and you're like, oh, that's where it is. That's where his advantage comes from. as a few Stalkers come in and a couple of probes are going down. I mean, MaxPax just blinks away. He's still keeping SKillous back on 2 bases, and SKillous really needs to find himself a way out of this this hole that he's in. But I don't know what you do here, because he doesn't have an army to make things difficult for MaxPax.
Oh,
He doesn't have his own economy. It's really, really tough.
it's almost now or never, and attacking through there, that's a slow pylon as well too. The weapons are going to be slow. MaxPax is whopping in 7 Zealots with charge at a time. SKillous needs to pull off the best Blink Stalker micro of his life to still win this game. It seems impossible, it seems unlikely, but many things have been in this best of 5 so far. Can he do it one more time, as he does show up right before charge is done? I don't know if there's a way, Waddy, but we're gonna see.
Zealots and Stalkers continuing through, an Immortal coming out as well. Massive stasis ward in the main base is obviously huge, and that's just going to add to the pain of SKillous right now, who needs to end this game, but he will not have a lot of reinforcements to do it with. And it just looks like MaxPax, that Immortal, the few Zealots, all of this just helps him in this defense and makes life that much easier. And yeah, just having a great time. He has another stasis, by the way, as the natural is now stasis as well. So just a nightmare.
Just a nightmare indeed. I mean, that Immortal, it seems impossible to take it out, but you can't ignore it because it deals too much damage. But if you go for it, yeah, you're gonna lose everything. SKillous needs to maybe blink on top of it, but if you do that, you lose all your units. So SKillous is gonna try to pick up Zealots one by one. Those are slow warp-ins, and MaxPax sees them. MaxPax feels confident enough to go for the forward blink. 2 Big Daddy Immortals, and obviously quicker reinforcements, I think, is going to be enough. One hell of a series, an absolute slugfest between these two. But it will be MaxPax who is going to break into the top 6 of the DreamHack Masters Europe. My